What if the fate of the world didn't lie in the hands of politicians or armies, but in a secret organization, hidden in plain sight? Beneath the tailored suits, behind the polished manners, lies a league of elite spies. Gentlemen trained not just in combat, but in chivalry, code, and cunning. They're called the Kingsmen. In a world spiraling into chaos, one man's vision threatens to reset civilization. Billionaire tech genius Richmond Valentine believes humanity must be saved from itself. His plan: unleash a global catastrophe to cull the weak and restart society. His weapon: a frequency that turns ordinary people into raging killers. But when an unrefined street kid named Eggsy is recruited into this clandestine world, the game changes. Thrust into a deadly world of espionage, betrayal, and explosive gadgets, Eggsy must prove he's more than just a diamond in the rough. Guided by the seasoned agent Harry Hart, codename Galahad, Eggsy must rise through brutal training, outwit deadly rivals, and uncover what it truly means to be a gentleman spy. The tailor shop is just the beginning. In a battle where manners mocketh man, the fate of the world lies in the hands of a new generation of Kingsmen.
I'm soaking these elements in a dark for a relaxed vibe. Try combining these elements in a DAW for a relaxed vibe. Try combining these elements in a DAW for a relaxed vibe.
story begins in 1977 inside a building in the Middle East, where Harry was interrogating a man. Suddenly, Harry's eyes fell on a pin in the man's mouth. Seeing this, Lee, to save his comrades, leapt onto the man himself, resulting in a massive explosion that took Lee's life. Harry, Merlin, and the landlord were deeply impressed by Lee's bravery. Later, Harry went to London to meet Lee's widow, Michelle, at her home. He gave Michelle a special medal, on the back of which some numbers were inscribed that she could use to call for help any time. However, Michelle refused to accept the medal, so Harry gave it to Lee's son, Eggsy, in case he might need it one day. 17 years later, in Argentina, Professor Arnold was taken hostage by some men who were waiting for their boss. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door, and when a man opened it, landlord was standing there. In the next moment, landlord attacked that man and then systematically eliminated all the men present. Just then, there was another knock at the door. As landlord went to open it, a woman named Gazelle, with blades attached to her legs, sliced him in two. Gazelle then covered the bodies with a cloth and opened the door for her boss, Valentine. Upon entering, Valentine first apologized to the professor, saying, "Sorry, Professor. I also dislike violence, but what can I do? When you can't get oil by pressing a straight finger, you have to bend the finger." Meanwhile, in London, Harry arrived at a tailor shop, which was actually the Kingsman headquarters. Arthur was already seated at the head table, and everyone was using special glasses to see and communicate with each other. During the meeting, Harry insisted that they must avenge their friend's death at any cost. Merlin agreed and informed them that Professor Arnold had been kidnapped, and they needed to rescue him from those thugs as soon as possible. With the landlord dead, a position had opened up at Kingsman, and Harry said he knew someone who could fill the spot. By now, Eggsy had grown up and was living with his mother Michelle and her new husband, Dean, in a small house. However, Dean and Eggsy did not have a good relationship and often argued. After yet another fight with Dean, Eggsy went to a bar with his friends to drink. This time, Dean ordered his friend Ravlar and others to beat Eggsy up. Ravlar and his men began to harass Eggsy. Amid the scuffle, Eggsy somehow managed to grab Ravlar's car keys and started recklessly driving the car outside. When Ravlar found out, he immediately called Dean. But by then, the police had started chasing Eggsy, who tried to escape by driving in reverse but accidentally crashed the car. Despite the crash, Eggsy did not stop and tried to flee again, this time crashing into a police car. He was caught and taken to the police station, where a detective tried to interrogate him, but Eggsy refused to say anything. Suddenly, Eggsy remembered the medal and called the number on its back. The woman who answered cut the call without hearing him out. For a moment, Eggsy thought he had been foolish carrying the medal all this time. But just then, a call came into the police station, and Eggsy was immediately released. As he stepped outside, he met Harry, who had been waiting for him. They went to a bar to talk calmly, where Harry told Eggsy about his father's bravery, how Lee had saved his life. Eggsy, on the other hand, had dropped out of school and was involved in petty theft. Then Dean's men showed up to beat Eggsy and called Harry an old man, telling him to leave. Harry started to head for the door, but instead locked it behind him and began to beat the thugs. Despite being alone, the thugs couldn't stand a chance against him. After beating them all, Harry knocked out the bartender to erase his memory. When he turned to Eggsy, Eggsy immediately said he wouldn't tell anyone and asked not to be knocked out. Harry was pleased and praised him before leaving. Meanwhile, on the news, Valentine was talking about a movie made about his life. Upon returning home, Eggsy was badly beaten by Dean, who desperately wanted to know who had beaten his men, but Eggsy refused to say. Meanwhile, Harry was listening to everything through a microphone hidden on Eggsy's back. When the situation escalated, Harry threatened to kill Dean if he didn't release Eggsy. As Eggsy left, some thugs were waiting outside. To escape, Eggsy started vaulting over walls and narrowly escaped, reaching a tailor shop where Harry was waiting. Harry took Eggsy to a back room and asked if he was ready to change his life forever because joining Kingsman would turn his world upside down. When Eggsy agreed, Harry took him through a secret passage and explained that Kingsman was the world's most dangerous intelligence agency. They boarded a bullet train and traveled to a large mansion outside the city, where Eggsy saw the Kingsman base for the first time. Merlin took him to a room with 8 other candidates, only one of whom would become a Kingsman. Merlin told them they were about to face the world's most dangerous job interview. As they left the room, everyone introduced themselves, and Eggsy realized he was very different from the others. That night, as the candidates prepared to sleep, water suddenly started filling their room rapidly. All of them tried to make oxygen masks, but Eggsy's attention was drawn to a glass panel. He tried to break it, and on the other side stood Merlin. When Merlin moved away, the glass shattered. Merlin praised Eggsy's quick thinking and revealed they had already failed the first test because they had left a teammate behind to die. The candidates immediately understood this was no joke. Meanwhile, Professor Arnold had resumed his work and met Harry. Harry suspected Arnold had given vital information to the kidnappers and was released on that condition. When Arnold refused to talk, Harry pulled his ear. Suddenly, an explosion struck Arnold's head, and 2 men attacked Harry, who escaped through a window. Valentine was pleased that his security plan had worked. Meanwhile, Valentine watched chips being made in his factory. Elsewhere, Harry regained consciousness. At the academy, training was in full swing. We learned that Valentine is a powerful man. One night, he dined with the Scandinavian princess, who said his plan was utterly foolish. On the other hand, the Prime Minister liked Valentine's plan very much. As the princess left, she was attacked and could not escape. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister had a chip implanted behind his ear, and Valentine congratulated him for joining the project. Harry had fully recovered and congratulated Eggsy for making it to the top 6. Merlin showed them a video revealing that Professor Arnold's death was caused by an implanted chip placed behind his ear by Valentine. Upon hearing this, Eggsy told them about a TV report he had seen a few days earlier, which revealed Valentine was distributing SIM cards worldwide offering free internet. "We thought Ambani was the one distributing free internet," Harry quipped. After this news, Harry wanted to meet Valentine, and Merlin was tasked with arranging it. The next day, the top 6 candidates faced a dangerous test. They had to skydive and land on a specific target while avoiding radar detection. As soon as the signal was given, they all jumped without hesitation. Roxy hesitated for a moment, but decided to follow Eggsy. Mid-air, Merlin informed them that one of their bags didn't contain a parachute. Upon hearing this, Eggsy told them to form pairs. Some candidates, fearing for their lives, decided to fail the test by opening their parachutes early. Ultimately, only Roxy and Eggsy remained. After passing radar detection, Eggsy opened Roxy's parachute, and both landed safely on the target.